I think one of the really unusual aspects of this election is the wild card being created by the Trump administration and the challenges that that might throw up for both the government and the opposition over the next few weeks. Hi, I'm Don Rothwell, and I'm really interested in international law and how that interacts with Australia's policies with respect to international affairs. Once the government calls the election, and that's been endorsed by the Governor-General, the government goes into what's called caretaker mode, which basically means that major decisions cannot be made by the government of the day unless there's agreement also by the opposition parties. So the big issues that I'm looking at are ongoing events with respect to the war in Ukraine, tariffs that the Trump administration might be adopting for Australia, and ongoing issues with respect to the war in Gaza and Israel's position. With respect to Ukraine, one of the key issues that I'm really looking at is the development of a so-called coalition of the willing, led by the United Kingdom, for which the Australian government has expressed an interest in engaging in. But how can Australia really engage in that during a caretaker mode when there's really no agreement from the opposition in terms of Australia's participation in a Ukraine peacekeeping mission? If the Trump administration announces new tariffs against Australia during a caretaker period, that will place the government in a really difficult position because the government can't really speak with complete authority, but obviously there's also bipartisan support in terms of Australia pushing back against tariffs. So it'll be interesting to see whether there's any bipartisan level of support for an Australian response if tariffs arise during this period. Australia's position with respect to a Gaza peace deal is one that will always be looked to, and that means that Foreign Minister Penny Wong might be asked to make some significant statements about Australia's position on any brokered Gaza peace deal over the next few weeks. Whilst the election is inevitably focusing on local issues, there will be this constant distraction of what's happening each day in Washington and perhaps wider in Europe. And that will create a real issue for local politicians and the government and the opposition in responding to those dynamics.